What up, YouTube fam? So, I've been away for a bit, and the reason being is I'm making business moves. Now, I'm not going to tell you all the moves I'm making because they still haven't solidified. Once they're done, I'm going to fill you in so that maybe you can replicate it in your area. But some things I'm going into are pretty competitive, meaning you tell the wrong person, and they're just going to run up on you and steal it from underneath you. Okay, I'm actually working with somebody right now because if you don't know, I'm the BVA. In fact, I've just been given a promotion I didn't want, which is Director of Operations, meaning I get a lot more work and it's all volunteer. But it's going to turn into an actual salary once we get going, helping people. Now, that brings up 2 points that I want to talk to you about. Number one, don't tell anybody what you're doing unless they are directly involved. And never, ever, ever, I don't care if they are a brother, a friend, anything. Never ever tell somebody what you're doing or what you intend to do before you get an NDA, a non disclosure agreement. Why? Because an NDA, well, number one, an NDA isn't anything without a non compete clause. If you're sharing something with them, that's perfectly fine, but who's to say they can't say, well, I was already doing it? Like, it becomes a really ugly legal mess when it comes to people trying to steal from you. Because the reason they steal, like my expertise is psychology. Point blank is simple. I will take a test anytime, anywhere, or debate any doctor out there. Psychology is my thing. Now, psychology as applied to business, that is marketing, brand, change development, or change management. It's all those things. So, number one, don't tell nobody what you're doing until you're already doing it, or they're going to be involved. And number two, find a need that needs to be solved. Right now, we need information. Okay, maybe you could start a YouTube channel like mine and start talking about coronavirus. Maybe you could start talking about Black Lives Matter. Maybe you could start talking about the protests. I mean, if you've been watching my channel, then you already know where I stand on Black Lives Matter. Okay, both my mentors are black, and they taught. I've seen more kindness in the black community than you could ever imagine. You would never imagine some of the things, some of the kindnesses that have saved my tail. But part of it is networking. You gotta know how to network. And if you don't know how to network, that basically means you talk to somebody without expectations. You explore them, they explore you, you get to know each other, you develop a friendship or a rapport, and then you start going into business. But you gotta do it piecemeal. Everybody wants to rush in and get it now. It's not going to be that case. I've been working on one of my current projects for 3+ years. Okay, you got to put some dedication into it. Because if everybody could be a millionaire overnight, don't you think everybody would be doing it? I mean, 2+2 here, left foot, right foot, you got this. And when it comes to just starting your business, you got to put your due diligence into play. Okay, I could have made a mistake and purchased the wrong property for the wrong purpose if I hadn't done my due diligence and research to know, okay, this one little thing, if I hadn't caught it, would have caused me financial ruin. Okay, but you've got to do your research. You got to know what you're walking into. That's why in a previous episode of Biz Talk, I basically lay out for you all of the all of the groundwork that you need to do at a high level, like really high level. I'm just skimming the top. I'm going to start talking to you about how to do things a little bit more efficiently, but with COVID going on, that shakes up a lot. And not only that, but the mismanagement of this whole situation is not good. Okay, America, if we're being honest, we're going to see a massive economic shift, whether for good, whether for ill, that has yet to be seen. It all depends on the players and pretty much what happens in November. But no matter what, we're going to see a recession, if not depression. Massive. We're talking if it goes full on depression the way I'm thinking it's going to go, it's going to be worse than anything any of us imagined. And it's going to hit us home hard. Okay, we're about to see a whole bunch of people evicted and foreclosed on. And what that's going to do to the real estate market, to the rental markets and all of that, it's going to trickle in so many different directions. So it's not going to be good. But find people that you can ally with. Part of the reason it took me 3 years to get this current project underway is I had to find the right people. And I had to find people whose morals and values aligned with mine. That's that whole networking thing. Because once you get into networking, you're going to start getting to know a person. You don't approach it with, hey, I've got this idea. Want to do this? Want to do this? Want to? You don't want to do that. You don't want to overwhelm somebody right off the bat. You want them to get to know you. And you want to get to know them. The people I'm partnered with, I actually met them through a bad contact, okay? The sister of one of the people I'm working with right now, okay, bad player left and right, okay? Just completely selfish and completely self-absorbed. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. It birthed what we're doing now. It birthed me getting to know some people that are very valuable to me, both personally and professionally. Very valuable. And networking, don't be afraid to get to know people. Don't be afraid to throw yourself out there. Don't be afraid to expose yourself. Okay? You see me do that left and right here. Okay? And I'll expose myself as long as the day is. Okay? Did I used to be a player? Yes. Am I the player that nobody suspected? Yes. Have I owned businesses? Definitely. Have I failed at business? Yes, I have. When you look at every major player out there in business, they've had failures. Some recover from their failures, some do not. Kylie Jenner. What blew my mind was that I think it was Time Magazine or something like Forbes or some business magazines respected called her the youngest self-made billionaire. The way that you can tell a self-made millionaire from somebody who had family connections and all of that is they can't replicate it again. I've gone broke before, and I've built back up before. And the only reason I failed was because I got overzealous. I pursued a project that I didn't do my research on, and it was all my fault. But I can rebuild every single time. I'm a risk taker. I really am. And that's part of my flaw, which is why I found people that are not risk takers. And that's a good thing, because they balance me out. I see the vision, I see the potential, I see the angles, and they see the numbers. They crunch the numbers. They see the people. They crunch the people. My team that I work with is fantastic. I absolutely love them. It took a long time to source them. But what we're also doing is we are pulling resources. We're pooling them, meaning we're not afraid to talk to one another. And like right now, I'm throwing hundreds every single paycheck because I do work a regular job on top of everything else that I'm doing. Okay, a regular job is not a bad thing when you're an entrepreneur because sometimes you need a base where you launch. And I've talked about this too. So I've got a good base, and all of us are contributing. One of my business partners is literally selling his home. Literally selling his home towards the project we're working on in a safe way. And on top of that, he knows that if he ever loses his job, that I'm going to step in and cover his mortgage. That's a level of rapport and trust that is only built with time and familiarity. You've got to take that time. You've got to build that familiarity. You've got to build that rapport. Because when you build that rapport, basically you're pooling not only individual resources, but personal resources. Now, what's the difference? Individual resources are the money you get from your job, your house, your car. And then the other resource is a resource of expertise. Personal resource it can't be undermined because when I was a consultant, I have a lot of personal resource. I know a lot of things because I study them. I'm a nerd. Excuse me. I had a burp there. But I know different angles of business. I've been exposed to a lot of different things. And that's also why I tell you, don't be afraid to try new things, to try a new industry, to explore industry. Because when you explore a new industry, it gives you different types of exposure. When you study different things, it gives you different types of exposure, different theories, different histories. For example, the Chevy Nova. That is one of my favorite marketing failures. Okay? Nova, when they tried to take it over to Mexico, Nova means does not go. It didn't sell well, even though it's one of the American classics. Absolutely. The Chevy Nova was awesome. I'm still a fan of the mid-year 1965 Corvette Stingray Coupe. For those things, the cheapest one you can find is 60 grand. It's even worth a damn. And I mean, I was looking to get into the classic car restoration market. It's just there's too much of a learning curve for each individual model. You have to be a true mechanic to do it. And otherwise, I mean, you're making pennies when you sell a car. You really are. So you've got to understand your market. My market is psychology. And you're going to be seeing blogs and podcasts and all of that in not too distant future. I just need to get into a somewhat better environment to be able to properly do it. Taking your time and doing it right is important. Okay, I'm giving you a crash course right now. But I know I'm reaching somebody because right now is a time of opportunity. And no, I'm not going to sell you anything like all those other people like, buy my plan, buy my thing. I'm going to get you a subscriber. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm never going to do that. And if I do ever start saying, hey, subscribe to this, that means it's got long-term support. It's not just wham, bam, here's your little booklet. I'm not going to do that crap. That crap doesn't work for the majority of you, and I'm here to serve the majority of you. My project benefits people, which brings us to another one. Find a need. Like I was saying before, maybe it's doing the coronavirus like coverage. Maybe it is election coverage. That's the free way to do it. Okay? That is the free way to start a online business, a vlog, so video log or something like that. Okay, do a talk show, do a podcast. Those are the free ways to do it and maybe build a following and grow. And there's one, it's Wild, the number 4, Games. I would highly recommend him if you're trying to build up social media. Let's say you're not trying to do with social media, okay? Social media is for if you're selling a show, which I actually have a friend in Chicago that's doing an actual show that he's now going to sell to a network. And he's been sitting on it for years, okay? Still pushing it for years. I mean, that is social media. If you want to sell a book, that is social media. No literary agent is going to touch you without a following. They're really not, unless you just have the most incredible story. But even so, if you get onto a news show, that's because you did something unique, but now you have a following, a social media following. Okay? Social media followings are great for if you want to talk about something, if you want to show off something. Okay? It's for video representation and book representation. But you don't want to get into that. Okay? Start small, start local. You can get into consultancy just like I did. Believe me when I say that a lot of consultants are not the sharpest people in the world. They really are not. Nope. And if you have an expertise in a field that people demand, okay, start leveraging it. Use Craigslist. It's $5 per ad. Try it out. Set aside $25, post an ad maybe 2-3 times a week. And do it during a time when people are going to be home. You do it either on a Saturday or Sunday morning, or you do it either first thing in the morning, like 7-8 o'clock in the morning during a weekday, or you do it after work, which is going to be around 5 o'clock your local time. These are just some ideas for you. I'm going to fill you in on some of the things I'm doing in the not too distant future. But in the meantime, I'm going to start giving you ideas in different markets and analysis of markets so that you can have an understanding of, okay, this is the direction I can go in. But stick to your expertise. Every one of you is an expert at something, okay? I'm not an expert at Babylon 5, but I could Babylon 5 all day. It's a sci-fi show with a strong following. Find out what the following for your expertise is. Reach out to those different forums on Facebook, on Twitter, on Reddit. Believe it or not, Reddit, I don't like it, but it's useful. It's useful to get your name out there. It's useful to post a video, something of that nature. Okay, don't limit yourself. One thing, a phrase that I came up with when I was 14, which apparently I wasn't the first, don't limit to your limitations. Okay, other people are going to tell you, okay, you can't because I can't do this. That's basically whenever somebody discourages you, that's what they're saying. Now, if they tell you honest criticism, like, you can do this, but you need to do this first, or you need to do that first, or that first. Okay, that's good, honest criticism. But when people are coming to you saying, no, you can't do this, that's because they can't do it. Don't limit me to your limitations. Remember this, because there's a real thing psychologically called Schadenfreude. It's where people like to see other people fail, and it's an ego response, right? And I've talked about this in another episode. But basically, people don't want to see you rise up unless they are rising up too. That's why you need to surround yourself with people that have rapport with you, that you have rapport with, that you can trust. Because again, I'm putting hundreds of my own money into this project of mine, which I will tell you about once it's off the ground. Okay, I'm not going to do it beforehand because otherwise, somebody's going to try and take it. And I don't want somebody in my area to try and take it or to say something to another person that will try to take it that has resources. Maybe you approach somebody that you know offhand or a family member that has no scruples about not, taking your business idea, or at least like wanting to steal it instead of working it with you. Okay, I've got people like that in my life, and I keep them as just casual acquaintances because they are not ready for business with me. And you got to remember that. So I'm going to be signing off in just a minute because I've been going for 16 minutes just chatting and talking, but right now is a prime time to start a small business or a build business or to build a following. And again, Wild 4 Games. Wild, the number 4 games. If you're trying to build a social media following, I highly recommend his channel. Okay, he knows the game better than I do when it comes to, okay, just how do you quick build a following? And he gives you advice for free, just like I'm giving you advice for free. I like that. I don't, and do not trust anybody that says, oh, buy this plan, buy this book. Don't. Why? Because most of the public speakers that you see, most of those folks, they make most of their money with you buying stuff. Okay, I almost got into that circuit before I decided, you know what, I'm going to keep my soul. So you folks stay safe out there. Please wear a mask, okay? There's enough science behind it to back it up. And yes, Black Lives Matter. I'm always going to stick by that. You know it. Anyway, y'all take care, okay? How do I stop this? Yay! I'm going to figure this out. I swear I'm going to figure it out. I never really go live on my cell phone, so that's a thing. I wonder. I'm just going to stop this app. I mean it. Lord have mercy. This is what I get for buying a new phone. You want to get into a new phone, get a new service, and all of that good stuff, and then all of a sudden, it just wants to act all funky. Let's see, is that thing? Whatever. I'm just going to hit this. Yay!